students under fire in the classroom.
15 children just hiding for their lives behind a cabinet.
Young lives taken in a place they should feel safe.
I shouldn't be going through this at my school. Like, this is my daily life. I shouldn't have to feel like that. And I feel scared to even go back.
Possible solutions come with controversy. Amid the debate, one thing everyone agrees on.
No child, no teacher should ever be in danger in an American school.
Tonight, the new steps being taken to protect our kids.
We're going to continue to do the things we do, make certain that our students and our schools are as safe as possible each day.
Action News Jax presents Mission Safe Schools.
Recent school shootings have left communities across our area taking a hard look at school safety.
No longer is this a problem that happens somewhere else.
The tragic lessons of the last school year have led to changes in your child's classroom.
For the rest of my days, this will always be engraved in my mind, and I don't think it'll ever go away.
17 students and teachers gunned down in classrooms and hallways in Parkland, Florida. Young lives changed forever.
I don't know what I do next. My wife is home. We are broken.
The massacre of Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School wouldn't be the only tragedy this school year. Just 3 months later in Santa Fe, Texas.
Next thing you know, everybody looks and you hear boom, boom, boom. And I just ran as fast as I could to the nearest forest so I could hide.
8 students and 2 teachers lost their lives at the hands of a classmate.
It's been happening everywhere. I've always kind of felt like eventually it was going to happen here too.
Action News Jax investigators dug through nearly 100 nationwide incidents involving gunfire at schools during the 2017-2018 school year. Based on certain criteria, we classified there were 25 school shootings. We defined that as any shooting incident where someone illegally brought a gun onto school grounds at a K-12 school while students were present. We included shootings where no one was hurt, as well as accidental shootings. We chose not to include suicides and also eliminated shootings where an adult targeted another adult at an after-school event. Competing movements to make schools safer sprang up in the wake of the Parkland shooting.
One side set its sights on gun control while the other focused on school security.
We're going to keep talking. We're going to keep pushing until something is done because people are dying and this can't happen anymore.
That was the message from the students of Marjory Stoneman Douglas High as they kick-started a nationwide gun control movement. Students held walkouts, pushing to ban semi-automatic rifles, strengthen gun background checks, and even advocating for the removal of lawmakers who've taken campaign contributions from the NRA. Meanwhile, gun rights supporters advocated for more school security.
We have to take steps to harden our schools so that they're less vulnerable to attack. This includes allowing well-trained and certified school personnel to carry concealed firearms.
Florida lawmakers took a multifaceted approach, banning all firearm purchases for those under the age of 21 and setting new mandates for securing every Florida school.
I'm going to do what I think are common sense solutions.
In March, Governor Rick Scott signed the Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School Public Safety Act, requiring every school to have at least one safe school officer. It can be a sheriff's deputy or a so-called school guardian, an employee professionally trained to carry a gun on the job. What you won't see, armed full-time teachers in the classroom.
Make no mistake about it. If you attack our schools, it will be the last thing you will ever do.
Let's take you county by county to show you how each public school district increased security. In Duval County, the board hired more than 100 school safety assistants for its elementary schools. They'll patrol and intervene in the event of a school shooting. Duval middle and high schools already have at least one school resource officer assigned to each. In St. Johns County, the district hired more than a dozen new sheriff's deputies to act as school resource officers, and that means that every school will have at least one officer. Clay County elected to hire civilian safety officers for all of its schools. Leaders say they didn't have the funding to hire more deputies. Along with hiring 3 additional school resource officers, the Putnam County School Board opted to train 25 to 30 of its staff members to carry concealed weapons on campus. For security's sake, the identities of these armed employees won't be made public. You can see a breakdown of the safety and security changes in your school districts on actionnewsjax.com.
A common thread to many school shootings is mental health. Lawmakers and our communities have struggled to find ways to identify students at risk and intervene. We've proven over and over again not doing so will lead to more violence.
He wasn't happy, so he had to take it out on people that were just so beautiful.
The story is almost always the same. Frustrations boil over. Signs are missed or ignored. No one wants to believe the worst. A study by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention shows that school shooters fit a certain mold with few exceptions. They are generally male, current or former students, socially awkward, have few friends, and isolate themselves from their communities. 75% feel bullied, harassed, or alienated by classmates, and they exhibit a lack of understanding of the consequences of their behavior.
Since he was in middle school, it was no surprise to anyone who knew him to hear that he was the shooter.
A key portion of the Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School Public Safety Act focuses on keeping guns out of certain hands. That includes giving officers the power to confiscate guns and ammunition from anyone committed to a mental facility, also referred to as being Baker Acted. The only way to get their gun back is by court order. Police officers can also petition the court to have someone's guns confiscated if they believe they're at a high risk of harming themselves or others.
Still to come on Mission Safe Schools, going one-on-one with Duval County's new school superintendent.
How do you feel about putting metal detectors in schools?
The action she's taking to keep students safe in local classrooms. Plus, stopping bullets, barricading classrooms, and sending out instant alerts. The new tools and technology parents and school districts could use in the event of a campus shooting. We now return to Action News Jax presents Mission Safe Schools.
In early July, a new superintendent took the helm with the Duval County Schools.
Action News Jax Jenna Bourne sat down with Dr. Diana Green to get her thoughts on school security.
You mentioned safety being your #1 priority. Next school year, for the first time, we're going to have armed guards in all elementary schools. Was that the case in Manatee County? And if so, how did that work?
Well, in Manatee County, we have a very similar situation. Our #1 goal was to put SROs in all of our schools. That did not work out. So we went to the Guardian program as a backup. So our elementary schools, and we call them Guardian Safety Officers, will have those individuals very similar to here in Duval. They will have the school safety assistants. I think we need to really review how it's working and develop the relationships with our current police department and our other law enforcement agencies to ensure that if we're going to use this program, that it is effective and that ultimately our students are safe.
Sticking with the topic of safety, Dr. Nikolai Vitti was not a fan of the idea of having metal detectors in schools. The interim superintendent said she was open to it. How do you feel about putting metal detectors in schools?
One of my priorities is to visit all of the high schools during the month of July to see the makeup of each campus. And after those visits, it will be easier for me to make a decision whether I would be open to metal detectors. In my former school district, we use mobile metal detectors. They're called wands, and they were very effective when we needed to use them. I also want to get the perspective of the board and the perspective of the high school communities. How do they feel about having metal detectors? And once gathering all that information, make a decision that's going to be in the best interest of our students.
How did you find using the wands to be either more effective or just kind of feel better for students at your previous county?
Well, the wands seemed to be a little less intrusive. One, they were mobile. Students have multiple entries. Currently in Manatee, we have a bus entry, car drop-off, and so people could be at different locations. If you choose a standing metal detector, it depends on how many will we be able to afford at each school site. Is it going to be one point of entry? those are issues that we need to vet out before we make a decision whether we would go with the mobile wands versus having a standalone metal detector.
Those are all the questions I had for you. Is there anything else you want to say? Anything else you want parents and students to know?
It's going to take all of us to ensure that our students are safe. The board has just passed a mental health program that will be the other piece of this puzzle, ensuring students that as they deal with many challenges in their home environment, we need to work very hard to ensure when they come to school that it is consistent, it is structured, and is safe, not only for our students, but for our employees as well.
Okay, anything else we should be expecting when it comes to changes for safety?
At this time, it's all about reviewing what we have in place to ensure, is it working? If it's not working, how will we adjust, make changes throughout the year, and evaluating the entire process.
All right, Dr. Green, thank you so much for taking the time. It was nice meeting you.
Thank you.
You can watch Jenna's entire interview with Dr. Green on actionnewsjax.com.
Coming up on Mission Safe Schools, parents take action to protect their children, outfitting them with backpacks that promise to stop a bullet.
With all the school shootings going on these days, every kid needs to be protected.
Action News Jax investigates the product's claims and puts it to the test. Plus, keeping the danger out of the classroom.
I have a high schooler, and I would love the idea of knowing that regardless of what class he went to, that device was in the classroom.
An Action News Jax investigation shows that it works, and also why the school district says they can't use it. We now return to Action News Jax presents Mission Safe Schools.
Before the mass shooting in Parkland, Action News Jax was investigating claims by a Florida company that it could give your child an extra level of protection in the classroom.
The product, a bulletproof backpack. Action News Jax Christy Turner bought one online and put its claim that it can stop a bullet to the test.
Bulletproof protection, two words that have taken on new meaning for parents as we see more images of children running from danger. But the makers of this backpack claim to provide another layer of security. The Florida company's CEO tells me this lightweight armor is tested and certified against .44 Magnum and 9mm bullets.
Material in the back of the backpack, it's called a polyethylene material. It's sewn into the back of the backpack.
To test that guarantee, we brought in Action News Jax lawn safety expert Dale Carson and Deputy Jeff Nolan with the Ware County Sheriff's Office. We left the backpack empty and fired 3 different weapons: a .22 Magnum, a Glock 9mm, and a .40 caliber handgun.
3 attempts so far, and none have gone through.
We also put the armor up against this shotgun.
We have a 12-gauge shotgun with a slug.
The material stopped it.
There's not even a hole.
We then added books to the backpack and fired the same handguns.
The expectation is that it won't penetrate the textbooks fully.
The bullets never even reached the armor. But what about a powerful AR-15 with a full metal jacket bullet?
Ooh.
It went all the way through the backpack.
All the way through.
We found having books in the backpack add an extra layer of security. The books were able to stop the ordinary handguns. The only thing they weren't able to stop were the rifle rounds.
The big danger with rounds is actually penetrating your flesh. So anything you can do to prevent that from happening, which this backpack is able to do without the books, is going to help save your life.
The company that makes this backpack says they aren't preying on parents' fears.
If you have a bulletproof backpack, that doesn't mean you are going to be involved in a mass shooting. The idea is to have an extra layer of protection.
Protection even these local moms admit they'd consider. Would you buy this for your child?
Yes, I would. With all the school shootings going on these days, every kid needs to be protected in some form.
And it's my job to protect him, and when I can't protect him when he's at school, then if I can give him something that would protect him, if that's what this world is coming to, then I would absolutely do that.
With sales on the rise, backpacks like this are taking school safety to the next level. Reporting in Duval County, Christy Turner, Action News Jax.
Bulletproof backpacks aren't the only devices that put a barrier between your child and a gunman's bullet.
But as Action News Jax Paige Kelton learned, local school districts can't use it.
Oh my God! It's a scene that's played out once again. Children running from danger. Parents fearing for their safety at school. But what if local teachers could create a safe room in seconds?
My name is Troy Lowe.
That video was featured last year by the trade group The Future Is Now. It's been viewed millions of times. Robert Lyons is CEO of the company that makes the Barracuda defense system. He says it was designed by a SWAT team medic.
Done a lot of training for active shooter situations and was not happy with the way the training would go, where desks were put up against doors.
The Barracuda is billed as an inexpensive and easy-to-use way for any teacher or even a student to barricade any door. So we put it to the test. This local mom was able to put the Barracuda into place in 18 seconds.
Okay, I got it.
Open up.
On the other side of the door, Action News Jax crime and safety expert Ken Jefferson.
This is a good deterrent. That time that I'm spending out here gives them time to get away.
I have a high schooler, and I would love the idea of knowing that regardless of what class he went to, that device was in the classroom.
But we learned that won't happen. We asked the Duval County School District last year if it would consider using such a device. I was sent this statement from Police Chief Michael Edwards, reading in part, "It's unfortunate that this type of device cannot be implemented in our schools as it does not meet fire code. We found out that national fire safety codes prohibit any device that will block egress from an exit in a school." But Lyons says his company has petitioned the National Fire Protection Association.
Well, fire codes are being revised now. The NFPA, National Fire Protection Association, is looking into this.
We reached out to the NFPA in Washington. While it wouldn't discuss the Barracuda specifically, we're told it can take months, even years, for the fire code to be revised.
Ken, do you think this would be a good option in a school?
This is an excellent option in a school.
I was feeling stressed even though I knew I wasn't in danger, so I can imagine if you were in danger, you would want to have a lot of training so you could do it easy.
Would you like to see that in your child's classroom?
Absolutely. I think it's a wonderful device. I think it should be in every classroom.
Paige Kelton, Action News Jax.
Duval County School says that classrooms are always locked when class is in session. Just last fall, the NFPA altered its recommendation for these devices to be allowed to be used in schools. However, they would have to be modified to allow a person with a special key to release the lock from outside of the classroom.
Coming up on Mission Safe Schools, instant alerts to police while locking down classrooms.
Lockdown absolutely is the #1 life-saving tactic.
The technology that could stop a school shooting and why it's not currently in any local school district. We now return to Action News Jax presents Mission Safe Schools.
ShotSpotter is technology JSO uses in our community to instantly identify where shootings happen.
You won't find anything like it in any local school, but it could make the difference when every second counts. Eagle Technology of Albuquerque, New Mexico has developed the emergency automatic gunshot lockdown system. The company claims it can initiate an automatic lockdown instantly, notify police, and even identify the caliber of the weapon being fired.
The system is designed to protect lives, basically to buy precious seconds.
Eagle CEO Boaz Raz says the system can also integrate wirelessly with the school's video system and stream video to police responding to the call for help.
You can see immediately video starts streaming the video from the location. It shows you where the shooter is.
The system is based on technology developed at the U.S. Department of Energy's Pacific Northwest Laboratories. Chief Engineer Jim Skorpic, now retired, began working on a way to detect gunfire after the Sandy Hook massacre in Connecticut in 2012.
He just started, could realize that, this is something that could have happened, at one of, the schools that his grandkids were going to.
Electronics technician Eric Gonzalez was part of the team working on what became known as the Firefly.
So when Sandy Hook happened, Jim came to me with an idea. We just felt like if we could, figure out a way to detect the gunshots, we could really make a difference.
It uses the frequency emitted by gunshots, not sound, to differentiate between actual gunfire or some other loud noise.
And so, our detector doesn't even detect that.
The system won't initiate lockdown because of slamming doors, backfiring cars, even fireworks. The lab tested the system with a Washington State school district.
And they did live fire testing inside of a school environment. Developing a product in the laboratory is one thing, but having the confidence that it is going to function the right way in a deployed scenario or in a school environment is a whole other thing.
The system is in use right now in one New Mexico school district where school officials are pleased with its results.
Very impressed. For us, the big key is getting kids behind a locked door.
Because lockdown absolutely is the #1 life-saving tactic.
Jesus Villahermosa, a retired SWAT team commander, is an expert on active shooters.
So you have a gunshot, right? Bad guy goes bang. And as soon as that gunshot goes off, that detector picks that up immediately and then integrates an automatic announcement to occur. So your delay time to implement lockdown is 0.
Eagle is fairly new and does not come cheap. The basic system is $25,000 a school. In some cases, systems may run more than $75,000.
Action News Jax is committed to covering the issues that affect our schools and communities.
Though many disagree on how it should be done, everyone wants local children to be safe in their classrooms.
This has been an Action News Jax special presentation.